Welcome, my name is Traci Smet from Ministry Point Sports Medicine, performing a presentation review on Know What You're Eating, which was given by Mary Sadler, registered dietitian with Ministry St. Michael's Hospital. The main focus of today's presentation is to really talk about eating more real foods and less processed foods. This is a family from Italy. If you look at the amount of content on their table there, you see a lot of fruits and vegetables, bread. They're eating mostly the Mediterranean diet, a little meat, and a little bit of fish. This is another family from Poland, and this is a week worth of food that we're seeing on the table here. Again, lots of fruits and vegetables, real food. The dog's food, that's a little bit interesting. And this is an American family. Again, a week's worth of food on the table here. We see a lot of packaged food, fast food, a lot of meat products, very little fruits and vegetables. So it's kind of something to say about our society. So what would a week worth of food that you eat look like? As you can see, we tend to eat a lot of processed foods in America. So let's talk about how to make foods healthier. Real foods, less processed. That's the main message here. So when you're looking at a specific item that you're looking at eating, do you recognize what the ingredients are? How many ingredients are listed? The more ingredients that a product tends to have, the more processed it actually is. And how many added vitamins and minerals are there? Real foods don't need enriched or fortified vitamins and minerals to be added to them. In fact, some of the best foods for us tend to be those with no labels. So let's talk about what real foods have in common. They should be high in water, high in fiber, low in calorie density, which if they're low in calorie density, that means they're going to fill you up, low in added fat, no added sugar, and nutrient rich. So when we do need carbs in our diet for energy, when you are eating carbs, try to eat those that are high fiber carbs, such as whole grains, beans, and fruits. These help you eat fuller calories because they keep you full. Stay away from cookies, crackers, and chips. Those are just wasted calories that you're eating. So let's talk about some types of carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates is one that breaks down instantly and causes your blood sugar to spike till insulin kicks in and then you're hungry again. So eating simple carbohydrates, which are low in fiber and contain natural and refined sugars, are not very healthy for you, and you're going to constantly be hungry all the time. The other type of carbohydrates is complex carbohydrates. These don't shoot your blood sugar up. They keep you fuller longer. Now, there is a new word out there called resistant starch. This is a type of carb or fiber that takes longer to digest, such as potatoes and pasta, and would be an example of kind of a complex carb. But don't get thrown off by the term. It's just another word that the society is starting to use. So when we're looking at our carbohydrates, the key is to look for 100% whole grain. And this ingredient should be the first thing listed on the box. If there is fiber added to the product, that's not necessarily a bad thing. There are two types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. Soluble fiber is for the heart. Insoluble is more for your bowels, and it's really in a lot of fortified foods. When you're looking at the fiber content, you should have at least more than 1 gram in that serving if it is a whole grain product. So let's look at a couple examples. We have a box here of crackers looking at the serving size, and the first ingredient, as you can see, is a whole grain type product. Now when we compare that to, for say, this type of product, you can see that it has less than 1 gram of fiber. The first ingredient is enriched flour type of additive. So again, looking at those labels and understanding what the ingredients are. So looking at carbs and talking about serving size, which would you rather eat? What's going to fill you up? You want the healthy one with 80 calories or the sludge one with 120 calories? A lot of people are really confused by the amount of serving size and counting how many calories you actually get, and it's no wonder why we're constantly overeating. You do want to make sure that you're increasing your fruits and vegetables. We should have a minimum of 5 servings a day. This is not new information. This information has been out there for years and years, but yet we seem to not quite grasp the concept. The average American only gets 2 servings or less of fruits and vegetables per day. Now, as Mary stated, she can understand that in Wisconsin we are limited to fruits and vegetables, especially right now. So don't be afraid to go for some frozen or canned type of vegetables. If you are going for canned fruits, get it in light or low syrup. You can rinse off your canned vegetables, and that'll cut 50% of the salt out of it. And don't be afraid to break out and try a couple of new items that are out there. Again, looking at serving size and comparing 150 calories, what would you rather have, a couple potato chips or this whole big colorful plate of food? Now, even though our serving size have gotten enlarged, that tends to help us when it comes to salads. Most salads are more than one serving size. One serving of salad is equal to 1 cup. So the bigger the salad, the better, and don't forget to add color. Again, looking at making a tortilla pizza, a little bit of sauce, a little bit of cheese, and lots of color. Now let's talk about sugar. You do want to make sure that you are limiting your sugar. Too much sugar increases inflammation throughout the body and provides empty calories, meaning there's no vitamins or minerals there. It increases our triglycerides and blood sugars. I mean, if you're diabetic, you already know these things. And some recent studies are starting to show that sugar could even increase our cholesterol and blood pressure levels. And hopefully there's more information to come on that soon. So according to the American Heart Association, women should have about 6 teaspoons a day or less of added sugar, men 9 teaspoons. And when we're talking about added sugar, we're not talking about the natural kind like is found in fruits and dairy products. But unfortunately, the average American eats about 22 teaspoons a day. So when we're talking about how much sugar, 1 can of soda contains about 40 grams of sugar. Do you know how many teaspoons that is? So 40 grams divided by 4 equals the number of teaspoons. So we're looking at 10 teaspoons of sugar. We know what a teaspoon looks like, but again, not everyone understands what 40 grams looks like. So use this conversion in some of the other products that you tend to eat frequently. Now do be very careful because there's a lot of products out there that do have some great other ingredients in them, but the sugar is still really high. For instance, looking at this specific type of instant oatmeal, you look at the first ingredient and we have whole grain oats. That's excellent. But when we look at the sugar content, we have 13 grams. Remember, women are only supposed to get 6 teaspoons and men 9 teaspoons a day, so we're almost close to that limit. Now let's talk about some fats. You do need fats in your body to help absorb certain types of fat-soluble vitamins. However, certain types of fats can be very negative for us. So you do want to make sure you're getting more of the positive fats in your body. Now again, do be careful. A fat is a fat is a fat. All fats have the same calories dependent on what types of things they are used for. The difference is what they do when they hit our bodies. And only 1 teaspoon is recommended of these types of oils per day. Do be sure to limit saturated and trans fats. These can increase the LDL cholesterol, which we call the lousy cholesterol, which we want that number to be low, and our HDL to be a higher number. So do be careful when utilizing these. So let's switch gears now. We've talked about carbs, we've talked about fats. Let's talk about proteins. With proteins, you want to try to choose healthier types of protein. For instance, fish, nuts, beans, more white meat, and limit that red meat as much as possible. When we're talking about sodium, be aware of certain types of processed foods out there. A lot of frozen foods in mixed boxes have very high sodium content. So one way that you can counter this is to either use half the pack, for instance the macaroni and cheese mix, or add more of your own noodles or rice to the mix to actually get more food, and that will hence decrease the amount of salt content per serving. When looking at oat products, again, think about real food versus processed food and look at the amount of sodium. Some things that we consider to be healthy are not always as healthy as they seem. And this is a wonderful thing to think about. It's not only what you eat, but how much you eat that counts. So with that, serving size does matter. In one study, participants ate 30% more calories when offered the largest portion of an entree compared to when they were offered the smallest portion. It's actually funny because NBC just had something on about ice cream where they utilized small cups and larger cups that had the same amount of ice cream in each bowl. The larger bowl participants tend to eat more ice cream than the participants that have the smaller bowls. So think about your plate sizes when you are preparing and placing your food. I mean, seriously, just look at the distance the difference on how things used to be 20 years ago and how they are today. The serving sizes have just gotten huge. This muffin is a great example. 20 years ago and now today. You're not always eating one serving size like you think you are when you eat one muffin. I mean, it's just amazing. Every single food that we eat has just gotten huge on us as far as serving sizes. So again, going back, Mary's talked many times about label reading, but read the label. What is the serving size? How many servings are in the container? And think about, if you're eating this whole box or this whole item all by yourself, how many calories are you actually getting? Now, the companies out there have kind of tricked us with this smaller bag concept, but really, when you break it down, we're actually getting more calories than if we would have eaten the regular thing. So again, looking at the bag size, be sure to always, always, always look at the amount of servings and how many servings are in that container. One trick that works to help make a healthier plate is to actually split it into 3 sections. The largest section on the left is for your vegetables, the top right corner for the starches, and the bottom corner for the lean protein. That way you're getting an almost proper balance of the types of right foods you should be eating. So here's an example of a healthy plate: 3 ounces of chicken, half a cup of brown rice, 2 cups of veggies. I mean, this meal is only 400 calories, yet it's going to fill you up. Here are some more great examples of healthy plates. So going over some key points of this presentation: eat more real foods, less processed. Read the labels and recognize the ingredients. If you don't know what they are, you probably shouldn't be eating that product. Be sure to increase whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Choose healthy fats and lean proteins, and remember, serving size does matter. So again, make substitutions: less butter, less sugars, and make more healthy fruits and vegetables, leaner proteins versus, the red meats that we tend to eat. These last 2 slides here, I want to talk about the old American plate. The typical American plate has fried chicken, fries, cookie, and a soft drink for a meal. And as a society, we need to change the way we think. Let's make the new American plate with grilled chicken, lettuce and tomato salad, fruit, and unsweetened iced tea or skim milk. And when we compare these side by side, you can see there is a huge amount of calorie deficit from the old plate to the new plate. This is one of Mary's favorite quotes. She said, "Eat food, mostly plants, but not too much," as Michael Pollan had said before. Mary recommends these following resources if you are looking for more information. So thank you for joining me today on Know What You're Eating, a presentation review of Mary Sadler's presentation. My name is Traci Smet. I am with Ministry Point Sports Medicine. And if you have any comments or questions about this presentation, please don't hesitate to contact me. Have a happy and healthy day.